Good morning, and thank you for joining me for this Sunday online service at the First Unitarian Church of Alton, Illinois, on this 9th day of January 2022. Our community is lay-led, and I am Tracy Howe-Koch, a worship associate here. Thank you for joining me. We welcome everyone to this place of comfort, spirit, justice, and hope. We are Unitarian Universalists. If you have a candle or chalice at home, I invite you to join me as I light mine. We hallow this time together by kindling the lamp of our heritage. We are Unitarian Universalists. Our opening words today are by Tanya Marquez. It is a wonder and mystery that our paths have crossed, that in the immensity of time, in the vastness of space, we coincide here. I am in awe at the ways in which our lives intersect and intertwine, at the beauty we create when we gather. May our coming together make us more compassionate, more just, more caring, and more loving. May our hearts and minds be open to this offering. I am so glad you are here. Let us worship, let us marvel at the miracle of being here, right now, and the mystery that has brought us together. Please join in as our accompanist for hymn number 134, Our World is One. Our reading today is by Rebecca Parker. Choose to bless the world. Your gifts, whatever you discover them to be, can be used to bless or curse the world. The mind's power, the strength of hands, the reaches of the heart, the gift of speaking, listening, imagining, seeing, waiting. Any of these can serve to feed the hungry, bind up the wounds, welcome the stranger. Praise what is sacred, do the work of justice, or offer love. Any of these can draw down the prison door, hoard bread, abandon the poor, obscure what is holy, comply with injustice, or withhold love. You must answer this question. What will you do with your gifts? Choose to bless the world. The choice to bless the world is more than an act of will, a moving forward into the world with the intention to do good. It is an act of recognition, a confession, of surprise, a grateful acknowledgement that in the midst of a broken world, unspeakable beauty, grace, and mystery abide. There is an embrace of kindness that encompasses all life, even yours. And while there is injustice and cessation or evil, there moves a holy disturbance, a benevolent rage, a revolutionary love, protesting, urging, insisting. That which is sacred will not be defiled. Those who bless the world live their life as a gesture of thanks. For this beauty and this rage, the choice to bless the world can take you into solitude, to search for the sources of power and of grace, native wisdom, healing, and liberation. More, the choice will draw you into community, the endeavor shared, the heritage passed on, the companionship of struggle, the importance of keeping faith, the life of ritual and praise, the comfort of human friendship, the company of earth, the chorus of life welcoming you. None of us alone can save the world. Together, that is another possibility waiting. Our second reading is a little bit more personal. Today is a special service centered around the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, or UUSC. UUSC advances human rights and social justice around the world, partnering with those who confront unjust power structures and mobilizing to challenge oppressive policies. Their work is grounded in the belief that all people have inherent power and dignity. I personally have donated and volunteered many hours with UUSC over the years and have seen firsthand how they partner with local communities to advance social justice issue. I encourage you to visit their website, uusc.org, to see the full scope of their work, both in the U.S. and internationally. Today's sermon will be around their annual fundraising program, Guests at Your Table, and it was written by their president, Reverend Mary Catherine Moore. As a longtime supporter of the program, I cannot express enough of how impressed I am with the depth and the breadth of their grassroots actions that they take in advancing human rights. I hope you will consider a donation to their important work, and that can be made also at their website, uusc.org. Please join us in our next hymn, number 318, We Would Be One. Perhaps you've heard or read the parable of the starfish thrower before. The tale comes from Loren Eiseley, the mid-20th century scientist and philosopher, who recounts meeting a person on a beach after a storm, which has washed thousands of starfish onto the shore. This person seeks out the living starfish and flings them back into the sea, where they may survive. After contemplating the seeming futility of such endeavor in the face of a problem that is so large, it would be impossible to rescue all the starfish on this beach after all. Eiseley recognizes the hope and defiance in taking such action. Eiseley finishes his tale by writing, "I looked back across my shoulder to see the star thrower stoop and fling once more. I never looked again. The task we had assumed was too immense for gazing. All about us roared the insatiable waters of death. But we, alone and small in that immensity, hurled back their living stars. I flung and flung again." Not too far from Boston, about an hour outside of the city, is Purgatory Chasm State Park. The park is on land cherished and traditionally protected by Winnipesaukee peoples, a tribe of now 600 living in the Massachusetts area. The half-mile-long chasm is a treacherous hike. A slow pace is needed to navigate the incredible scale and danger of that chasm. The stones, large and small, that just beneath and loom above the hikers. Stone can be viewed as a symbol of patience and the steady pace of change. Boulders worn smooth by the elements and gigantic canyons carved out by tiny streams. We can be reassured by the long view perspective of time revealed in stone. Purgatory Chasm is not such a symbol. The immense breach in the earth was created in an instant, a moment of immediate, dramatic, disruptive, and violent change. Scientists now believe that chasm was formed by a sudden release of glacial meltwater 14,000 years ago. Change sometimes happens like that. Stone is sometimes shaped by sheer and urgent power in an instant. Right now, these days, that image of change is more resonant than the slow, steady force of a small stream carving a canyon. In his reflection on saving the starfish along the ocean shore, Loren Eiseley writes, "All about us roared the insatiable waters of death." For me, this line brings to mind the creatures and the plants that the habitat lost in that dramatic moment of change 14,000 years ago at Purgatory Chasm. Think of it. Water roaring from above, melted, who knows how much earlier, working, perhaps for a long time to find its escape, but forming that landscape in an instant. The power of water is so compelling. All about us roar the insatiable waters of death. Loren Eiseley saw this from the perspective of the starfish's life and his own. We can see it in the indifference of a virus and the intimate violence of racism. We are at a rare time in history when so much is revealed by the rapid change and disruption of this moment. What is revealed is not anything new. What is revealed is what too many of us have managed not to see. Even as we've understood, as Dr. King reminded us, that what affects one affects all, many of us turn away. I believe not because we don't care, but largely because we underestimate our power. And then, often, those of us with various forms of privilege get comfortable, and our gaze remains fixed for the truths that soothe us. The shaking of so many foundations around us has forced us to see so vividly much more than many of us ordinarily see. Horrific inequality, systems designed precisely to maintain castes among us, the complicity of silence, and the seductive comfort of our perceived powerlessness. These times are urgently calling on us to remember and use our power. That's right, power. Did you know that the UUSC's mission includes an affirmation of the inherent power and dignity of all people? For Unitarian Universalists, repeating the beautiful words of our first principle it's easy to read right over that small but significant difference. It's not denying inherent worth. That's implied, but the addition of power is significant. At UUSC, we affirm the inherent dignity and power of all people, the power of compassion that demands our hands and minds and hearts to be engaged in fulfilling the promise of human dignity and worth, the power of faithful imagination, the refusal to give in to the cynicism and powerlessness that tyrants and empires depend upon to thrive. These times are urgently calling on us to remember and use our power. Do you see it? Your power? Can you sit up a little straighter, take a breath, and feel your power? I'm afraid you're not buying it, because often I don't either, especially these days. These days I'm feeling pretty small and less able than ever to accomplish these things. The roar gets inside of me and I feel so alone. I feel fear and grief and powerlessness. Okay, shake that off. I'm not asking you to deny those feelings, but to see something more. We've come here today because we know that religious community will hold us when we feel small and alone. Community will call us back to the power that we each carry, that we recognize in each other. That is called out from us in community. We show up, we are here together because we believe that ministry, our shared ministry, will comfort us and confront us. It will call us to our power. I invite you to call the name of someone who has reminded you of your dignity, your worth, your power. And now call to mind memories of that power that has arisen from communities you are part of, from this congregation. Prophetic witness in the larger community calls for justice and for healing. Actions that were part of movements that brought about actual change. Friends, you have what you need to create a better world. We have what we need to enact courageous change. I am also deeply inspired every day by the fierce power of the grassroots partners who are the heart of the UUSC's mission. We believe and we know from experience that partnering with communities most deeply impacted by injustice is the most faithful and the most effective way to contribute to a better world. This is what the UUSC's Guests at Your Table program has been highlighting for decades, offering us a chance to learn more deeply the stories of 4 of our grassroots partners. These guests invite us each year into a more profound solidarity with them and the communities they serve. Our partner, Axel Fuentes from the Rural Community Workers Alliance, or RCWA, is organizing food processing factory workers in the Midwestern United States, building coalitions through organizers that speak the language and know the culture of the workers that they collaborate with. Together, they are tapping into the power to demand safer working conditions that honor their dignity. Axel says that UUSC support has been one of the most important pieces for RWCA to be able to survive and to make progress as a grassroots organization in the fight for the rights of the most vulnerable. Myra Dakapau, a member of the Karen ethnic minority and director of the U.S. Campaign for Burma, is drawing on her experience as someone targeted by the Burmese militia, the military junta, as a child to bring attention to the crisis happening in Burma today. She advocates for Burmese ethnic minorities and pro-democracy demonstrators with a vision for a peaceful country that has achieved a true democratic state where the power lies with the people but not the military, and also a country that finally realizes that inclusivity makes them stronger. Our partner, Maina Talia from the Kiowa Community Organization in the South Pacific, is working to make the communities of Kiowa Islands resilient to the forces of climate change for the sake of future generations and to serve as a refuge for those living on neighboring islands with lower elevations. The island must provide agriculture support, moral support, and have climate-proof structures to ensure the community of the people, to ensure the continuity of our people. As many of you might have heard, many of the Pacific Islands are slowly losing their space. They're drowning, as one might say. Maina says, our vision is to build a community of resilience. UUSC is especially honored to be working with the Kiowa Island Community Organization as their first funder. Our last guest this year, Christian Guzman Merlot, is co-director of the UUSC partner Fundación Entre Mujeres, or FEM. Organized by and for rural peasant women, or campesinas, in Nicaragua, FEM is both a feminist farming collective and an advocacy network linking 21 communities to bolster their economic, political, and social empowerment of women. The intersectional approach of FEM, seeing the connection between healing the land and healing the wounds of violence against women, offers a profound and necessary model of justice throughout the world. Christiane shares that what FEM wants is collective transformation in the communities of this country and all over the world. I am so grateful for what I learned every day about fierce power from UUSC's grassroots partners, such as Axel, Mirana, and Christian, and Myra. Peoples who's experienced the intimate violence of oppression every single day and still know their dignity and power. People who lead the way in enacting courageous change. These times are urgently calling us to remember and to use our power. We have what we need to create a better world. I want to thank those of you who have connected with the Unitarian Universalist Social Service Committee through our shared work for justice and with your financial support. UUSC is a member-supported organization that receives no funding from the UUA, and we cannot do this work without you. I hope that today's service inspires every one of you to become part of UUSC's justice-loving, justice-seeking community. In closing, I would like to invite the voices of my UUSC colleagues to share more about the work we are doing in collaboration with you, our UUSC supporters, and our grassroots partners around the world.
Unitarian Universalism, and the Universalist Declaration of Human Rights. At UUSC, we seek to advance human rights, dismantle systems of oppression, and uphold the inherent dignity and worth of every human being.
Founded in 1940, UUSC addresses the needs of people who've been ignored or overlooked, working in places where the larger aid agencies often do not.
We are committed to building upon a legacy that is rooted in locally led initiatives, working hand in hand, eye to eye, and heart to heart with community leaders and grassroots organizations in the United States and around the world.
Today, UUSC has over 30,000 members, partnering with more than 40 grassroots organizations. Our programs span across 20 countries in Asia, the South Pacific, Central America, and the United States.
We do our work in 3 ways: through advocacy and action with UU congregations, UUSC members, and our incredible volunteers, through education and experiences with the UU College of Social Justice, and through grant-making, convenings, and collaborative research.
With our partners, we address human rights issues including disaster justice, emergency relief in the face of natural or human-made crises, climate action, working with communities who are losing their homes due to climate change, and criminalization, partnering with communities who are targeted simply for their activism of being who they are: immigrants, LGBTQ people, and ethnic and religious communities.
And this past year, we have been working with our grassroots partners to meet the unique human rights challenges presented by the COVID-19 crisis.
We know that UUSC members expect us to always be learning and be bold in our programming and our commitment to human rights.
We want you to have confidence in our work. UUSC is a terrific investment for your philanthropic support. Our budget goes far to accomplish so much for human rights in the U.S. and around the world.
And for 10 years running, UUSC has earned 4 stars, the highest possible rating from Charity Navigator, because of our effectiveness and fiscal transparency.
It is an exciting time at UUSC. We are grateful to you and to all of our members for your partnership and support. putting your faith in us. You make our work possible. Thank you.
Thank you, UUSC supporters.
Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you so much for your support.
And thank you for putting your faith in us.
For all that you do to advance human rights.
We really appreciate it.
We couldn't do the work we do around the world without you.
Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed that little video. As a personal note, as I mentioned earlier, I volunteered many years with UUSC, and I've done a couple of their volunteer trips, and the work they really do partners with grassroots organizations. When they say that, they mean it. They don't come in and they don't just take over an area and say, this is what we need to do. They really emphasize putting on a collaborative effort with the groups that they work with. And I really appreciate that because, as many of us know, the best way to help an area is to talk to them, ask them what they need, and how we can best assist them in their work. So please consider a donation if you have the ability to do so. And with that, I say we also approach the offering for our community. And give what you will, for you are generous folk. I invite you to either mail your offering to the First Unitarian Universalist or First Unitarian offices, or to use the Givelify app. Doing so will help us meet our financial responsibility to you at the end of this year. This morning's offering will be most sincerely and gratefully received. May it be lovingly given. And please join us in our offering prayer, which is projected above. May this offering equip us to inspire love and to seek justice. Our next hymn will be Blue Boat Home.
Below me I feel the ocean, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. Wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat. Sun my sail and moon my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat.
I encourage everyone to be on the lookout for emails from the church office to keep up to date on the happenings at First UU Alton. You can also check out our Facebook page if that's helpful. We do have one announcement from the Reverend Scott Assen from the UU Advocacy Network of Illinois. He knows that the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights has reached out to UUANI for assistance for supporting immigrant families impacted by the tornadoes last month. About 50 families have asked Casa Mahoican in Carbondale for help, which has greatly exceeded their capacity. People have lost family members, homes, incomes, etc., and are desperate, especially with the cold weather. Their immigrant status and language barriers have made it hard for them to access public services such as FEMA. If you have any capacity to help, they are in great need of warm clothing, coats, socks, gloves, hats, scarves, etc., and donations can be made. I'll put it on our Facebook page as it's a bit of a long address. Now please join me as we extinguish our chalice. May the light of truth and meaning cannot be put out. We are the keepers of this flame until we meet again. Our closing words are by the Reverend Elizabeth Lerner McCrae. Each other is what we are given in all that will save us. This planet is all we have in all that will save us. Our own honor is all we have in all that will save us. Each other's humanity is all we have in all that will save us. All that we are, all that we know will be known for, and all we will be judged by, all that will intervene for us, save us, complete us, redeem us, is us. So may it be.
Close your eyes and go to sleep. All the good times are yours to keep. Recalling the thrills of the love you know. This is the sound to be tuned into. What your heart tells you is where you need to be. What your heart tells you is what you need to see. Never settle for anything less than everything. Never settle for anything less than everything. Facing the wind from the roof rack steel on a high-speed journey to somewhere. Got an impulse to flee this town right now. The light goes on and off each day, looking for a pin, a stack of hay, recalling the thrills of the love you know. This is the sound to be tuned into. What your heart tells you is where you need to be. What your heart tells you is what you need to see. Never settle for anything less than everything. Never settle for anything less than